Oh my god, this is terrible. What happened? Hi everyone. The last few devlogs, I've been building up to a basic combat loop. First showing weapon swings, then animated hitboxes, and then rendering text. This devlog, I put it all together and add some death animations and health bars. The first step was to get the hit values from the server and render them on the client. This wasn't too difficult given the network protocol. Next was to get the text to move up and fade away after a second. I do this in the fragment shader by accumulating the delta time frames and reducing the alpha and moving the fragment up by that amount, up to 1. And also I positioned the hit values with a Y offset to keep them off the ground. And I think this looks pretty good. So the next thing I worked on was the health bar. I'll try to explain this in a simple way, well, at least simple to me. Okay, so here's the bar. This is a player we're looking at in world space. And then we're going to draw a quad, which is all the health bar is. And currently, the quad has positional data. And this positional data is local to the quad itself. So we need a way to transform these positional values for these vertices into, and actually I'll make the vertices more clear, into the world space, preferably above the player. So here. And we need it in world space because we want the perspective. So the bar is smaller when the player or the NPC is further away. So to create this transform, pretty simple. Basically, we find the position of the player or the NPC. And this comes from the server. The Y coordinate, however, is actually on the ground. And this is because the mesh has its origin at the feet. So we need to figure out the Y offset. And the Y offset, basically we can take the highest point of the mesh and use that coordinate. And I think I'd use like +1 to get it above the name. It doesn't really matter, it doesn't have to be exact. This will be the Y coordinate. So the Y coordinate of this +1 ends up being your translation from local space to world space here. So the next question is, well, how do we, let's assume that the player's health is at 50% right now. How do we color this green and this gray? Sort of a translucent gray. So I tried a few things, and originally I was working with the frag coordinate and all those sort of things, but that just seemed like it wasn't really working well. So I went with a simpler way, and this way made more sense to me. So let's imagine we had weights, and for the left vertices, they are 0, and for the right vertices, they are 1. So this value is passed in along with the positional data, and it gets interpolated. So let's say we're looking at a fragment right here, which is dead in the middle of the quad. This weight of this fragment, let's start over here. Let's just say, for example, is 0.5. So we also pass in via uniform is this, I'll call it health normalized, which is just the health over the max health. Oops, that shouldn't be an X, it should be an H. Good, so health normalized. So we pass this in, that gives an idea of where the health is, and then we're checking the fragments for this weight factor, whether they are less than or greater than, and then we're coloring. So if we want it to be a green fragment, basically what we're saying is that the weight of the fragment is less than or equal to the health normalized, right? And everything else is gray. So 0.5, we can see the weight of 0.5 is less than or equal to the current half health. And let's say we did 0.4, you can see that that would also work. And if we go to, let's say 0.6, which is, let's just say this fragment down here. Well, the weight of this is 0.6, it's obviously greater, so then it should be gray. And that was pretty much it, and that seemed to work well. And again, I've never done this before, so I don't know if there's any pitfalls or trade-offs, but it seems to work okay now, so I'm going to keep it. And the final thing I needed to do was to create the death animations. And this did not take me very long. I think I'm definitely getting a little better with Blender. And that's pretty much it. Thank you for watching, and take care.